Amy and I have still been talking. Amy is going to help me do this video, aren't you, Amy?
Oh, yes, Karen.
She's the perfect person. This poor lady sits, like, most of the time she never sees what I drag up, but you like what I do, don't you? You know I don't lie, so.
That's right, Karen. That's right.
Well, what I wanted to do with this first part of the video, this is what I all call Tartaria, and I think it's all very hidden in the War of the Roses. And I'm going to show a picture later on, because guess what? Jerusalem is in Scotland. That's what this information says. So it makes sense why the War of the Roses, and they were all fighting and everything. Fighting over anything else. They thought, well, anyway, I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll carry on, because I wanted to put these pictures in, because I actually think Elizabeth I was probably a coloured lady. I'll say coloured. I don't like using the word black, because we're all shades of brown, even the white people. We're just a very light shade of brown. We're all brown. But the browner ones, this is a darker person. I think it's either Charles I or Charles II. I can't remember. I think it's Charles II. He looked a dark person. So I'm just moving on, because obviously I take the pictures. Amy hasn't seen them. So
Hey, that's a picture in a minute.
yeah, he was a dark person. Put it in your thing, Amy. And show another picture. It's Charles II. This is Charles II. He looks kind of like he's an Egyptian. He was a darker person. And then there were people, we were all living in harmony. No one was slaves. They were in the royalty, they were marrying, we were all living together. That says 1545. Hang on, let's stop it a second. Let's go back. Oh, we've moved on a little bit, but we're going back. It says an etching by Wenzel Holler, 1649-5, known in Germany as Wenzel Holler, 1606 to 1677. Was a Bohemian etcher who lived in England for much of his life. He was born in Prague and died in London, but he's done this picture of this person. She's dark-skinned, 1545. So we had to be living in peace with everybody. Yeah. And then there you go, look at that. More, what do you call them? Aristocrats dressed up. The name of him's on there, or whatever he is. There it is there. Or is that the history person? No, there it is. That's his name. Aldo, whatever that is. I'm not even going to say it. I can't say it, Amy.
Sounds a tough one.
Yes, there is his name up there at the corner. Anyway, so that royalty, Jews ruled Europe, it said in this. Just picked some pictures off the internet, because that's where I saw it all. And then that is Charles II again, a very dark-skinned person. Looks Spanishy. And there's another one, dark-skinned person. You know, and then obviously there's Elizabeth I. I thought that was an amazing crown she had on. But I'm wondering whether she was a dark person as well in reality, and that's why she had to have a white face. Because, you know, she didn't have blonde hair or ginger hair or whatever. She was a dark person, and they've had to cover it all up because they don't want us thinking or realising that we were run by different people. And I think we're back to Charles II now. Sorry, Amy, poor Amy sitting there in silence. There's another. He's a Russian general, dark-skinned. I can see it in the videos. You know, he was Louis de Rouvois, Duke of Saint Simon, 1675 to 1755. To a family of an ancient nobility, he was educated gentleman, and he was a musketeer at the age of 16. Later entered the service of Philip, Duke of Orleans. Saint Simon gives his portrait of Philippe, who was a homosexual. Monsieur was a little man. He always wore high-heeled shoes and was always dressed up in feminine ways. Ah, okay then. That's what it says about him. But I just wanted to show that these people are here and for some reason have been covered up. And they're not in our history. Do you think that's crazy, Amy?
I do.
Oh, look at this. Sorry, Amy can't see it. There you go. This is what they reckon James II, Rackman. Believed to be James II, Edward Stuart, James II, or James III of England, because of the similarities in armour, hairstyle and leopard skin cloak found in a fake, white-niced portrait of Prince James III of England, who was the son of the deposed James II of England. James the 7th Oh, I'm getting confused now. There's all these numbers. James VII of Scotland. As such, James III claimed the English and Scottish thrones as James III of England and Ireland, and James VIII of Scotland. Upon the death of his father in 1701, he was recognised as the King of England, Scotland and Ireland by his cousin Louis the 19th of France. Following his death in 1776, he was succeeded by his son Charles Edward Stuart in the Jacobite succession. 2 wars to restore the Stuarts to the kingship of Britain failed, the Jacobite wars. But you see, there you go. So they've just lied to us about everything. Why are these pictures coming up now? It's really strange, isn't it? When you start delving a bit, then a bit comes up. Never the whole thing, but bits and pieces come up that people have put in. I think it's crazy. So James II was a black man. Check second where he was, Amy, with the kings. It says 1600, so I think he's just passed our Edward IV, Edward V, Richard III. Now that is supposed to be Elizabeth I, but who does it remind you of? Does anybody think that's like a Victoria? She looks like Victoria. There's another version of her. We don't see her. Oh, it says Elizabeth I. Elizabeth I. Yeah, Elizabeth I. She looks like Queen Victoria. Let's just pause for a second. Right, anyway, I just asked Amy to look it up. Anyway, he comes after Elizabeth I. So James VI and one was black. It says in there when I looked it up. So there's another one. So James VI. That's the bottom of the thing off. There you go. James of England and Scotland was black. And that's the end of that bit of my English and black, and we're not a slave in sight. That's what the Guardian says. Anyway, this part here is about the dresses, right? I'm just going to stop it a minute because it's going to go quite fast. I was just a bit shocked. In it, this man who put the pictures up did say, you know, I can tell that a lot of them are men dressed as women, but they've got such tiny, tiny, tiny little waists. How they could have breathed anything. Just
I know.
Squeezed in at the middle. I can't imagine why you'd want that as a style. But anyway, let's move on. So we're going through the pictures. This is about the tiny, tiny little waists that they had. But we don't. I mean, I think that's a woman. That's a woman because she's got a pair of knockers sticking out the front. So we know that one's a woman. But some of them are men dressed as women. I'm not sure about that one. I was just looking at their dress, style. That one to me looks like a man, woman, but it looks like they're very flat chested. Like these people don't have any breasts. Most of them have got to be men, or they're just not very pretty women. I think that was a woman. Very sort of cowboy time dress. Maybe a little bit before that, actually, in middle 1800s. And I don't see this great big... I like that picture as well. I don't know if that's a man or a woman, to be honest. She's quite pretty. The backgrounds in them, like they haven't got nice, great big furniture. Everybody looks quite poor, to be honest. When you look at the... this is headdress. I mean, I'm glad this one's... She's not smiling. She's got an expression on her face. I think this one's a man dressed as a woman, to be honest, but I don't know. Anyway, I think that's him there as well. I think that's him. I was a bit shocked. And then this one here, I think is also a boy, because they've got no... But who knows? I don't know why they'd like doing that. What, to pretend loads of women, or it's perversion? I don't know. So I had to go back and have a look at the pictures because I couldn't. I mean, that could be that person still, but then both of them are in that picture, so I'm a bit. But they just the way they look. Oh, that's a mistake. We've already done that one. We've already done that picture, but anyway, here we go. So basically, I'm just going to stop the video. It says, most are men again. I don't do this on purpose. My point on these dresses, how could they even make these in the late 1800s? And look at the women and their style. So obviously we're going to be looking at some of these. This person took loads of pictures. I just took a few of their pictures. 51 there. And I obviously just took a few of them to make this video. So we're back on here, back on them. I mean, they do have headsets on, you know, their heads wrap. Nice. I realise I've been going the wrong way. Why? Some of them look quite beautiful and they're little tiny waists, but just do not look very feminine. They really don't. Everybody is quite sick, really, isn't it? If they are men dressed as women, I just don't know. Where's all the women then?
Right.
But these little tiny waists that they had, I just don't know. They'd have had corsets on and things. We're just going through some of the pictures. They're just pictures, aren't they? It's hard to know whether. I mean, sorry, that one does look like a man. I'm sorry, but it might not be. But it does look like one. We're just looking at photographs. I just copied them. I just like showing them. I'm sorry. I think that's two men dressed as women. Look at. They've got no breasts or anything. I just think that's what that is. I think that's just really weird section of pictures. Oh, we're going to this castle. Hang on a second. This is a comment, right? But it's talking of this house. And I'll let everybody read it. I'll leave it on there for a few minutes. It's basically saying how big it is, and this house is not there anymore. These are some of the pictures that came off of it, the inside. But it was destroyed in the 1920s. So sad, really. And it was an Indian-looking building, so probably a bit like the palace in Brighton, which is this big Indian-y sort of. There just is in England. I don't get it. When we've had all these Wars of the Roses and we've had all that, and then suddenly all comes this Indian stuff. But depends if they thought England was, or Scotland was Jerusalem. But anyway, we're getting on to that one. Anyway, everybody's read that now, hopefully. So we'll move on, because this is inside. This is what it looked like, and that's what it looked like on the outside. Look at that, beautiful. Just beautiful. I mean, if it looked more like that in reality, beautiful. Anyway, on we go, because Amy can't see it. Oh, there it is, up there. It says it was built in 1882. It was unparalleled, meaning it was obviously a beautiful house. Decorative arts of the 19th century. Obviously, the era it came from. It was 35 metres. The dome electrified. The metropolis. So that's amazing, isn't it, Amy?
Yes.
1882. Unfortunately, the house was destroyed in 1929. Only the house of the janitor and the gardener with private properties remains, and all the things inside have disappeared. And Giles Moray, architect and teacher researchers at the Villeneuve, whatever that is, graduate school, patiently rebuilt the puzzle through this thesis. So they obviously put it all back together because it's completely disappeared. But that's what they do. They like to they destroy. It's not like anybody really realises anything's ever been there. They did that. They did that to the big house down at Bowood House. They took the big house wasn't as big as the rest of it, but they called it the big house. It was a big pillar house, and in the Second World War there were soldiers there. It was like a hospital, and then they said, "Oh, it's too expensive. We can't afford to run it." So instead of just shutting it up, they tore it down, and now you'd never know that there'd ever been a house there at all. So why would they do that? And then the rest of it was where there were scientists there, even the one I think who made oxygen, or the word oxygen. He found what that was, or put it all together there. So there were scientists there in the other part of the house. So why do that to the big house? It's like there's so much history going on there, and they're taking it all away as per usual. Can you imagine if they hadn't done all this, how much history we would have been left with, and what we could have probably all pieced it together then. Do you think, Amy?
Yes, I do, Karen.
So annoying. I don't know. I mean, in a sense, you Americans, you're used to only having history from a certain period of time, aren't you?
Oh, that's true. We have a much shorter history span than Europeans in England do. So.
Yeah, on we go. We're going on. Anyway, so this is what it used to look like inside, and obviously I left that there for you to read. It had turrets and terraces and hanging galleries, and it's such a shame, isn't it? Wouldn't you love to have seen that? Love it.
Yes.
Anyway, that's that place there, but there's hardly any history, and they've had to patiently piece it back together to show you what it was. And it's so sad. It was a beautiful house. Oh yeah. Triggers for empaths. There you go. Is that true? Loud noise, inauthentic people, feeling rushed, fake conversations. And I put that one in there, I'm sorry. Because that's about right, isn't it? And there's one
That's
more,
right.
I think. There's one more, which I can't mention. It's about if you repeat a lie often enough. This is the picture I wanted, right? So this was sent to me because they're saying that Scotland was Jerusalem. There you go. Look at that. It's got Abraham, Isaac, Jacob of Israel, Judah, Jesse, David, Solomon, and it's done this little map. And it talks about England and Scotland, 1603. So that would have been after Elizabeth I. So that's James I. There you go. So they're reckoning that this is maybe why we are in charge of everything. Maybe they've lied about where they put everything. You tell a lie long enough, we believe it. Oh.
That's right.
Anyway, I thought that was a very interesting picture, but yeah, that's what someone sent me. Out of the stem of Jesse and branch shall grow. Joseph and Mary, Jesus. And on the other hand, it's got Ireland, Scotland and England. On one side it's got Mary and Joseph and Jesus, and on the other side it's got England, Scotland and Scotland and whatever, Ireland. Anyway, that was just a picture of anyway, on to hats now. There's a few hats to go. Just thought some of them were amazing. I mean, these look like women wearing these hats. Sometimes so many pictures in, I could just be forever there clicking to videos, but I just wanted to take a few of those to show you the different kind of bonnets or hats that people wore in those times. I think a lot of them are foreign, to be honest. We've done those ones there. Look at that. Oh, and then on to back to her. I thought that was quite an amazing one. But onto this one. It was about, this is the Tsar of Russia and his wife. Look at the colour. She's got, her head's a completely different colour to her body. So they've obviously superimposed. It looks like a man, to be honest, when you zoom in. But that head's been cut and put on top. It's not the right head because her head's a different colour to her body. It's dark. The size of her hand. How do we know what that is? It could be a priest and they've just stuck her head on top. I thought that was a very strange picture of the Tsar of Russia. I zoomed in a bit and it just looks all made up to me. All made up. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Amy, what's your thoughts?
I just can't wait to see it all for myself.
Lovely, Amy. I love you, Amy.
I love you too, Karen.
Look at the size of that hand. Her size of that hand is the same size as her head. So something's not right with these pictures. I just took it off one of the Tsar films.
Yes.
Because I always find the mistakes, don't I, Amy?
You do. You're the... That's right, Karen. Can't wait to see it.
Okay, my darling. Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, Karen. Thank you.